Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you've all had an amazing week. As I said in my last video, this is the video summary of my podcast episode entitled How to Deal with Being Overwhelmed. Oh my gosh, what a week it's been. Just when it looked like things were getting back to normal, start of January, we've all decided that, we're going to set our goals. I know I did. I set my monthly goals, then I broke them down into my weekly goals and my daily actions, and then boom, a third lockdown. And then it falls upon us, the parents, to educate our children in the form of homeschooling. And I don't know about you, but it is particularly very, very, very difficult. I was upset. Everything that I had planned straight out the window. Now I'm finding myself having to try and meet my goals for the month and for the week, as well as homeschool a 9-year-old. Now, a lot of you might be thinking that, oh, well, what's so difficult homeschooling a 9-year-old? Surely the work can't be that difficult. You can just leave him and he'll get on with it. Well, no, actually it is extremely difficult because my gorgeous boy, with whom I am well pleased with, is dyslexic. And so what that means is that it takes him ages to process information, which means then it takes me longer to explain things. And if I'm being completely honest, neither I or my boy like me teaching him. He's fed up with homeschooling, and I definitely don't want to be homeschooling him. But with all of these factors in place, it can lead to being completely overwhelmed. You can have feelings of anxiety and stress, particularly if you've got younger kids, or if this new lockdown, the third lockdown, if you will, has interrupted either your business plans. You're now finding that you're having to work from home, as well as juggle various other things in the form of homeschooling. What can you do to alleviate those feelings of being overwhelmed and stressed? Because essentially, when you feel overwhelmed, you are essentially stressed, right? So here's what I've been doing this past week to help me deal with the feelings of being overwhelmed, because it's really stressful. Things are all up in the air, as I said earlier on. So we really need like a few tips and strategies that can help us deal with this current global pandemic, and just to keep us, feeling not too stressed out. So one of the things that I've been doing this past week to just bring my stress levels down is to meditate and take a step back and take a moment. Now, for a lot of people, if you're not used to, or if you're not familiar with meditation, it is an extremely great exercise. And if you're not familiar with it, you may be thinking that, I've got a lot of things to do. I don't have time to take a moment. I haven't got time to sit in silence, I've got deadlines. I've got a ferocious to-do list. So I ain't got the time. Take a deep breath, The Dalai Lama, when he's under immense stress, he actually meditates longer. And it doesn't have to be something completely complicated. It is simply you taking a step back from all of the chaos and all of the noise. Take a step back from your emails, take a step back from your computer, take a step back, like for me, take a step back from year 5 maths, you're just taking a deep breath. And you're essentially gathering your thoughts, You can meditate literally for 2 to 5 minutes. Just sit in silence, gather your thoughts, and just say to yourself, this is what I'm going to do. And then it allows you to remain more focused. It's actually been proven that if you meditate, you become more focused, you become less frustrated, you're unlikely to lose your temper or, get into a hissy fit. So try and meditate. Just take a moment, sit in silence, just calm the noise in your mind. Another thing that I've been doing is to action a few and quick and easy items first. Now, you've got this massive to-do list, you've got to reply to this email, you've got to make this phone call, you've got to make lunch, you've got to log into perhaps your child's virtual school. That's currently what is happening to me, okay? I've got to log on every morning, Monday, first thing in the morning, we've got to be logged on into the virtual classroom by 9 o'clock. Right, so you've got all of these things going on, as well as your well-laid plans, your to-do list. Now, if you go through your to-do list, right, and then you look at your to-do list and you've got to do X, Y, and Z on your to-do list, it is really useful to action out the quickest items on your to-do list, as opposed to trying to work through the more challenging, the more time-consuming items. So what I've been doing is to work through my to-do list. I want to knock out all of the things that I can essentially do in less than 5 to 10 minutes, or in between whilst I'm trying to explain my son's work for the day. If you do that, you're more likely to achieve way more in a day, in your extremely busy day, than as opposed to trying to work your way through all of the much more time-consuming actions on your to-do list. Remember, I've only got 24 hours in a day, right? So we want to maximize our time as efficiently as possible. So the next thing that I do is to cull or postpone anything that doesn't need doing this week or right now. I am sure that if you go through your to-do list, right, if you go through everything that is scheduled for you to do, and if you ask yourself questions like, what tasks can I postpone? Does this actually need to be done now? Is it urgent? Can I remove it or postpone it later on down the line? Perhaps when lockdown is over, or perhaps on a day that you have more time to do that particular task. If you ask yourself those questions, I am more than confident that you would have gotten rid of a huge chunk of items on your to-do list that can be either knocked out of the way or postponed for further down the line, perhaps during the week or next month. That's a really, really, really great thing that I do. The next thing that I do is to set realistic goals. Now, as you know, it is great to aim high. We were all pumped up for the month of January. It is 2021. We've got huge intentions, but then obviously now we're on yet another lockdown, or our movements have been restricted, which means that the goals that you would have set for yourself, and even, got through them, if you will, what with everything changing now, it is really great to re-evaluate your goals, set realistic goals according to how your time has now changed. Now look, it doesn't mean that if you're setting realistic goals for yourself, goals that you know that you can achieve, given the fact that you now have the added pressure of homeschooling, if you're a parent like myself, if you're able to reevaluate and reset those goals, then suddenly you don't feel like you're not achieving anything. And it really goes back to my second and third point about actioning a few items first, the really quick ones, and also culling and postponing certain items. If you're able to reevaluate your goals, set them according to what time you have in a day, you'll feel less of, I don't want to use the word as a failure, but that removes that additional pressure upon yourself when you feel like, oh, I haven't done anything today. I wanted to do X, Y, and Z, but I was unable to because of, the issues and the pressures and the stress of homeschooling. So reset realistic goals. And when you do that, you will still feel that you're achieving something great, as opposed to feeling like you're not achieving anything at all. So that's a really great one. You know, set realistic goals. They can still be ambitious, but at least now they'll be more realistic in terms of what you can do in your day. And the next thing that we should all do this, okay? And I know so many of us don't, myself included, which is to lean on other people and delegate. Listen, you don't get a gold medal if you're carrying everything by yourself. There is no I in team, okay? It is a really, really great thing for you to consider, right? Asking those in your world, whether it's a work colleague, whether it's your family, whether it's your neighbour, ask for help. If you're a manager or you're a supervisor and you are having to work from home, is there a way by which you can delegate certain responsibilities over to other team members? Okay, I think what happens for a lot of us is that we tend to ask the question in our head and we then tend to assume the answer on behalf of the persons that were wanting to ask the question. Don't assume that if you ask someone within your team, or if you ask your friend or a family member or even your neighbour for help, and it can be something really small, like, you know, maybe taking the dog out for a walk, maybe helping, you know, fetch some shopping for you, whatever the case may be. Don't assume that because your time has now been limited and you're super busy, then everyone else is busy and no one can possibly be able to help. Yes, there is an element of truth for that, but why don't you let the other person give you a no or turn you down? At least if you ask, then you don't feel guilty for asking, because, you know, they've given you a reasonable explanation as to why they can or they cannot help. And as the song says, I ain't too proud to beg. I can tell you this right now, okay? I have not been too proud to beg. Within my team, I've had to rely heavily on certain members of my team that run my business for me, and also within my business group, and we're all helping each other. And this forms part of the collaborative community that we're all trying to build and be a part of, right? So lean on people, delegate if you can. Don't try to micromanage everything, because all it does, it builds up stress and anxiety, and we're trying to deal with being overwhelmed during this really difficult time. So remember, delegate, ask, lean, and definitely don't be too proud to beg for help, yeah? And then the final one, most important, super, super, super important, be kind to yourself. You know, now is not the time for you to beat yourself up. Now is the time for you to turn down that internal critic radio volume within you. You know, I really strongly believe that the challenges that we're all going through right now in this moment is a character building exercise. And I am 110% sure and confident that if each of us are able to get through the various challenges, the uncertainty that is currently gripping the world, and indeed my country of the United Kingdom, if we're all able to get through this period, okay, not only will anything that comes before, you know, anything that comes afterwards, it will be a mere walk in the park, but it's also preparing each of us for the next stage of our lives, to the next level, you know. And whatever is the challenges that we all feel, being a self-critic and being completely negative towards yourself is extremely harmful. I believe, and I know this for a fact, that everything that we're going through, it is but a moment in time. You got to remember, you know, let's be realistic now, and let's look at the bigger picture and change our perspective. Things will not be like this forever. You know, it is but a bit of it's a moment in time, right? And it is incredibly difficult and it's frustrating, and, you know, things are difficult for everyone, but you've got to remember, it is but a moment in time. This is a character building exercise, I believe, and those that are able to get through this difficult time are the ones that will be more prepared to face whatever challenges come after this. So whether it's to do with your business, your relationships, your work, whatever the case may be, we are in the best position because of what we're going through to overcome those challenges. And I really do believe that everyone will get to the next level of their greatness just because we're able to deal with this nonsense. So that's what I've got for you today in this week's video. Please like and share, comment below. I really hope you found this useful. Again, you can also listen to the podcast version of my video. And remember, guys, be great because you are. And I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.